Hello, I'm Diane Welborn, First Vice President of the International Ombudsman Institute. I bring you greetings at this special occasion from the International Ombudsman Institute, our President, Peter Tyndall, the Ombudsman of Ireland, and the staff at the International Secretariat in Vienna, Austria. We all send our best wishes for a successful exposition. The history of the impact of women on the development of ombudsman institutions has not yet been written, but at this International Expo, the foundation will be laid. As I read with great interest the invitation to attend this expo, I also realized that I have had the pleasure, honor, and benefit of knowing many of the women leaders in ombudsman institutions. So it is with pleasure that I reflect upon the impact of the women I have known and their contributions to our work as ombudsman. I will begin at home, so to speak. My predecessor in the Ohio Ombudsman Office was Bonnie McCauley from 1974 to 1992, who was instrumental in establishing the United States Ombudsman Association in 1977 and served as the president of that association. My Ombudsman Office joined the International Ombudsman Institute in 1978, and Ombudsman McCauley attended the second IOI World Conference in Jerusalem in 1980. In those early days of ombudsman institutions in the United States, Ombudsman McCauley was instrumental in the establishment of ombudsman offices in other jurisdictions. The ombudsman who followed her was Marie Ferguson from 1992 to 1999, who was also a leader and officer of the United States Ombudsman Association and a member of the board of directors of the IOI. I was appointed ombudsman in 1999. I was also elected to the United States Ombudsman Association and served in several officer roles and as a regular presenter at annual USOA conferences. During this time, the USOA developed a two-day training program for new ombudsmen, which has become an annual event. Most of the ombudsman offices in the United States have had women serving in the position of ombudsman. I was elected to the board of directors of the International Ombudsman Institute in 2010. And through that association, I have worked with many distinguished female ombudsmen. Nilde Arduin at St. Martin, Catherine de Broeker of Belgium, Dr. Po-Ya Chang of Taiwan, Elisabeth Fura of Sweden, Deborah Glass of Australia, Irina Lipowitz of Poland, Panit Nithiprapas of Thailand, Ujong Pak of Korea, Victoria Pierman and Arlene Brock of Bermuda, Caroline Zocconi of Zambia, and Lynette Stevenson of Trinidad and Tobago, Alice Tai and Connie Lau of Hong Kong, Alima Traore of Burkina Faso, and Beverly Wakeham of New Zealand, who became the president of the IOI, the first female president of the IOI. I want to highlight that women contributing as assistants or deputies within ombudsman offices are also leaders and have made enormous contributions to the success of our ombudsman institutions around the world. I would like to name Barbara Findlay of the Ontario Ombudsman Office and Sharpening Your Teeth fame, Wendy Ray of the Ontario office, Satomi Muto of the Ombudsman Office of Japan, and Roy Pin Therawong and Kanokwan Anatagul of Thailand. These women have guided ombudsman institutions when the term of office of the ombudsman have changed and new ombudsmen have been appointed. Dr. Linda C. Reif of the Faculty of Law at the University of Alberta, Edmonton, served as the editor of publications for the International Ombudsman Institute from 1989 to 2009. She is a noted scholar of ombudsman institutions and has published numerous books and articles on the subject of ombudsman institutions and human rights institutions. She must be acknowledged and thanked for her enormous contribution to our field. When I first joined the board of directors of the International Ombudsman Institute, I was told that the organization was like a moribund boys club. I quote here Richard Carver, A Mission for Justice from Vienna, 2018, page 73. When I attended the 1996 World Conference in Argentina, there were only 2 women on the entire program. Dr. Victoria M. Velasquez de Aviles of El Salvador and Roberta Jameson of Ontario, Canada. Roberta Jameson's emphasis on taking ombudsman services to Indigenous peoples and to those who were generally underserved brought a renewed value of the importance of reaching the people through ombudsman offices. Thankfully, since 1996, much has changed, and women are increasingly in leadership roles. Ombudsman Alice Tai of Hong Kong played a prominent role on the task force, which resulted in the movement of the International Secretariat from its origin in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, to Vienna, Austria. President Dame Beverly Wakeham led the organization to new heights in her discussions of unleashing the power of women and therefore bringing new skills and capacities to our work. Dame Beverly Wakeham also led the IOI into improvements for training and the importance of human rights work in the work of ombudsman institutions. Fiona Crean was the first City of Toronto ombudsman, 2008 to 2015, and made creative use of an International Ombudsman Institute subvention to do an evaluation of the performance of her office, which is a model that others can follow. Looking over the roles of all of these women leaders of ombudsman institutions, what can I identify as the distinctive contributions of women to the international movement? First, it can hardly be a coincidence that it was a woman in the person of Dame Beverly Wakeham who finally internationalized the leadership of the IOI at the highest level by nurturing leadership from Africa, Asia, and Latin America. It took a woman to make the leadership of the IOI a global village. Second, the style of collaborative leadership that women bring to ombudsman institutions is an identifiable factor in the effective exercise of power, such as Dr. Po-Ya Cheng of Taiwan, whose office has the extraordinary power of impeaching public officials, and the successful contribution of ombudsmen such as Panit Nithiprapas of Thailand to the drafting of the Constitution in her country. Third, it is the tenacity of women who have been obliged to struggle and to find their voice in a male-dominated world that comes to expression in the courageous vigilance of the Ombudsman Thuli Mandosela, who has exposed corruption at the highest level. The contributions of women to the work of ombudsmen over the past 40 years inspire confidence for the future. As women find their voices, we look forward to a practice that is more inclusive, collaborative, more tenacious and persistent, more progressive and democratic. I say to any woman leader of an ombudsman institution that I have not mentioned in this greeting that I want to meet you. I know there are hundreds of you out there. I am so pleased that this gathering of women in ombudsman institutions is taking place. Please enjoy one another and the unique time together. Thank you.